Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah.
Can I make you groove now? Yes, I can. So you can get this groove in the back of a can. You can make it round the world when the holes in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. 250 flavors. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. The Popcorn World.
You're now listening to the Brothers of the Five. At shooting guard, it's your boy, Killer Cam. At small forward, it's Reggie Love. At point guard, C Major. At power forward, Al B. And at center, Mr. Noise, Lloyd Spence. And now, the Brothers of the Five.
Add one more plus me and you
So we coming into this game short-handed. You know, we got some people on the DMP. We got some people on the IR. So we coming in a little short-handed, but we got enough to win the game. We're never scared. We ain't never scared.
No. At all.
We ain't never scared. We coming in hot.
At all.
So, and since we picked up an amazing 6-man, definitely gonna be 6-man of the year. It's not even close. Jay Weezy. No, I don't like it. I'm gonna work it in and then I don't know. Jesse Wright. We're going with Jesse Wright for now, but I'm working on something. We're working on something. We're trying out some alliterations.
The statistician.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. The statistician. Mr. Statistician. How you doing? How y'all feeling, fellas? Y'all good tonight?
Good. Man.
You know what? I know we got noisemakers in general because that's the name of the page. That's the family there. But I want to give a specific shout out to the Five crew. Like we got to come up with a name for the Five listeners because we building our own little culture right now. And so we got to come up with a name for our listeners on the Five because they're unique. They're unique in their own way.
Yes, sir.
I'm feeling that. So shout out to the Five listeners tonight. We got a good one. Let's come in hot, man. Right off the top, man. We got breaking news from yesterday. Major League Baseball has canceled the opening day with potentially a strike and more games to come. My question is, does anybody really care? I know the players care. But does the general public care?
I hope they do. I do. Man.
Do you care?
I'm a baseball fan.
I'm a baseball fan too, but I just
Cam, you a sports fan.
Right. Right. I'm more of that than probably this.
I mean, to go to a baseball game on opening day and all the, just the excitement in the air, tailgating and everything. I mean, that is exciting. But as far as baseball in general, I think a lot of baseball fans are like, baseball needs to get their stuff together, and it's been like that for a long time. So,
y'all tailgating at baseball games down at the ballpark?
Yeah.
No.
That's your team's problem right there. Focus on the wrong thing. We're worried about the wrong things. I need a Ray Beltray for his
You tell-
second year. We need a good parking lot for tailgating.
You
Well, listen,
tailgate
right?
where you can tailgate, man. This is Texas, man.
Well, listen, the Rangers have been focused on the wrong thing for quite some time right now. So, Jesus, I mean, so I don't know, man. I probably should care. Okay, so let me say it this way: the journalist in me cares because it's an interesting story, and what they're fighting about and what they're fighting for is interesting to me. The fan of me is like, okay, I mean, it's gonna make my summer long, but it means I'll just binge on some other stuff.
Well, but
Like-
what's 2 series in 162 games? That's their first problem, right? Like,
Right.
but I think first of all, let the players get theirs.
Yeah.
Everybody else is making it, so let the players
Definitely
make it
pro
too.
player in this. Yeah, definitely pro player in this for
Right.
sure.
But I also think that it's interesting, where the players draw the line, because I'll be pro player right up until I find out that in order to get the deal done, they cut out all the minor league incentives that were supposed to come down the pipe. Right?
That's a
You
good
see what I'm
point.
saying? Because
Yeah.
those major league players are the ones that are creating that environment for the people that are coming behind them. And it depends if they're not willing, if that's not a hill they're willing to die on. You see some of the conditions in, these leagues, single A, double A, triple A, and what they're getting paid and everything else. I think that, that should be a hill they should die on. And I'll be pro player when they, as long as they do. But
So let's widen the scope of this conversation now, because I think that's a great point that you just made, Jesse, and it fits into a much bigger narrative. Why is there such a disconnect in all of sports between player and owner? Perfect example also. New York Liberty fined for doing what? Chartering plays to make life easier for, I don't know, the players on the team.
yeah, but see, that goes against the collective bargaining agreement. So there's 2 stories out there on that, right? The first one is he's saying, and this guy owns the Brooklyn Nets too, right?
Right.
He and his wife. So he's committed to the game of basketball, obviously, committed to the game of basketball in the New York area. By buying the WNBA team, he commits to that entire league, right? Because that league needs momentum and it needs investors that have deep pockets. The problem is not all of them do. And some of these guys bought, 6-figure teams in the
Right.
WNBA.
Right.
And the money that they have to spend to support those versus the money they're making, it's not like they came in with $2 billion and said, let's just go like we're the Chelsea Football Club. So it's interesting in that if he's creating a competitive disadvantage because of how his players are able to rest or get treatment or do all these things, sleep later, have better travel schedules, whatever it is, right? And that provides them an advantage versus another team and it's against the CBA, then I think you should have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because to me, let us not forget that the WNBA as a whole is supported by who?
The NBA.
The NBA. So honestly, that's where I think the real problem lies. I think we're focusing all of our anger and vitriol on the wrong group. Y'all started this league and said we want a viable women's league that can compete and is comparable to the men's league. So the travel of these women should be written into the whole thing.
No, it should be, but that's what I'm saying. There's a distinction. I totally agree. They should be they should be flying the way that they should be flying, right? The way that the
Right.
Liberty owner wants them to fly. The whole league should be flying like that. But I think it should take a movement of the players, right? And then support socially, right? And then, funding from whether the NBA or whatever it is that comes down. Or even I think there was a story that said that the Nets owner actually, or the Liberty owner actually offered to do something like 3 years.
You did.
Free flights. Well, I think the WNBA said we never got presented with any offer like that or we would have taken it. But I just think what he did by doing it against the CBA and providing an unfair advantage, I think that was wrong of him. But if he wants to also provide the solution at the same time, then I'd be totally fine with it.
And see, I would say I think it was wrong of him in theory. In practicality, it was nothing wrong what he did. In fact, it's hopefully the catalyst to create the change. So now I go back to Major League Baseball. You can't keep just letting people take advantage of folks. And at some point, you got to put your foot down and say, okay, listen, we while we know you own the team, if we don't play, you don't have a team. It's that simple. And so they got to do something. So I think the players have to really take their own personal empowerment much more seriously than I think a lot of them are willing to do. And I get it. It comes at a very sometimes expensive cost. And the people that hurt the most are the ones on the back ends of these deals. Like you said, the minor leaguers, the fringe WNBA player, the fringe NFL player, et cetera, et cetera. They hurt the most from these deals because they can't afford lockouts and stuff like that. So this is one of those, now to go biblical, this is one of those things where got to bear the infirmities of the weak and say, okay, the guys that are at the top that are making the big money, they got to take care of teammates and they got to help, you know what I'm saying? They got to help kind of cushion the fall or cushion and support those guys as we go through to change things to make things better for everybody. So change is never easy and there's no easy route to it. But I think what they're doing, and I think, I'm going to be honest with you, my humble thought is that the Liberty owner deliberately did this to push the conversation. And I'm okay with that because it needed to be pushed. And there needs to be a light shine. It's no different than last year when the girls filmed the NCAA, when the women's teams filmed their accommodations and their workout facility and then put that on the internet. If they hadn't done that, it wouldn't have changed. So you got to do something, man, to make the thing change.
Or the U.S. women's national soccer team, right?
Very good.
And their lawsuit getting equal pay settlements and stuff going forward.
Yeah.
You need that kind of change. I don't know. It's an expensive point to prove, I guess.
It is. And if you go this route, you got to see it through. There is no middle ground or something like this. Right. So the players have dug their heels in. I guess they're committed to it. We'll see.
You talk about if the players don't want to play though, that you won't have a product. I don't tell the Marlins that because they don't care what 25 people they're putting in a uniform, right? I think that's the problem. Some of these things have to get past, with certain thresholds, and there are definitely some markets out there that can't afford to or don't want to, right? Invest in any player, much less their farm system and everything else. So.
Which gets back to the vetting system of some of these owners. We got to do a better job as to the heart and the mindset of a new owner. Does this owner really want to be competitive? Does he or she get the essence of the competition or the spirit of competition that the league would desire from their owner? And are they quite honestly really ready to spend some money to do so? If they're not, then maybe this isn't a good fit for you. So anyway, had to get that in. That was a quick hit. Other breaking news. There's 3 breaking news today. Other breaking news is Art Briles. Somehow, Art Briles. Let me back up. Somehow, Hugh Jackson sat in an office alone by himself and said, "Geez, man, I got to get a coordinator. Who out there is available?" And he went through his Rolodex and said, "Man, no, not him. That's right. Art Briles is out there. That's who I need to come to Grambling."
Yeah.
That didn't age well.
Sometimes, you are owed a favor to somebody. Maybe he lost a poker game and he's like, "Hey, when you get a job, put me in there." But I think it was a terrible, terrible choice because of Art Briles is past, and you just have to think about what you're doing. I mean, you go into a HBCU, and this is going to be definitely a decision that you have to think about before you make it. Because there's a lot of coordinators out there that definitely deserve the opportunity. And him just giving it to him, it had to be something. Him losing a poker tournament or doing a favor for somebody, it had to be something to be able to make that decision. It was mind-boggling for me. So.
You're a Big 12 aficionado. You lived through the Art Briles days, Cam. What are your thoughts?
Different time, different scenery. Simple. I mean, if this was 5 years ago, nobody's questioning this. If it was 10 years ago, nobody's questioning this. If this was 5 days ago and 5 weeks ago, it's a big problem. If it's tough, and the tough part is, even Chad right now said that's a terrible move. Are we talking about his coaching experience, his coaching expertise, his coaching, or are we talking about?
We better not be.
Or are we talking about a black and white thing?
Talk about image-wise, for your image of your university, you're a new coach trying to make your mark on your HBCU gig, and you got this guy who's had accusations in the past. So I think it's an image thing. It's not a coach thing. It's
not just accusations.
Well,
salacious accusations.
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely an image thing, and you don't want to be a new coach coming into that situation. And
so it has nothing to do with black and white.
No,
it was his stuff was sexual harassment, but not with him. But like what was happening in his program.
No.
He was supposed to be responsible.
Right. I understand that part, but I'm saying, do people have an issue with it because?
No, they're just saying he shouldn't be given a chance.
I don't think the black and white part was an issue. I think it was just all the other stuff that, man, the culture of Baylor, bro, it was a lot.
I mean, if do Art Briles, should he even coach anywhere ever again? If that's the thing.
Well, now you're getting into
he's not a head coach either. That's the other thing.
So that's what he said. When they asked him, they said, "Well, what are you going to do right about this?" He goes, "I'm going to do my job." Or maybe it was Hugh Jackson that said he's going to come in here and do his job. He's not the head coach, right? All those things you're worried about, I'm responsible for. Right. So you let me do my job. I just need him to put a game plan together and coach on the field. And I think he can do that in spades. So
can a man, or should a man, or can a man, is maybe the better way to ask, be redeemed from his sports sins?
What is the knock on Eric Bieniemy?
I don't know.
What's his past? What's in his past?
I haven't heard anything. What have you heard? His attitude was bad. He's over the top.
I've heard of accusations. I probably need to go read for myself. Back in Colorado, and everybody in the world is saying, "Hey, we need to get this guy a chance. We don't get this guy a chance." Well, maybe if we look at his background, it may be something similar or something like that of the nature. And I'm just saying, I don't know if we give people a second chance. We definitely give the player a second chance if they have these issues, And I understand the player and the coach is different, but a man is a man, and I think we should give him a second chance.
I'm gonna tell you something.
He's not a head coach. At the end of the day, he's not calling multiple shots.
I think it's the location that did it, not his whiteness. I don't think that had anything to do with it. Okay. I just think that wasn't the best. With HBCUs trying to build a resurgence of sorts, that looked bad. That just didn't look good.
That's my point.
Desperate, saying we'll do anything to resurge and keep up with the Eddie Jordans and the Deions, up to and including a dude who can't control a culture from all types of salacious things. You go, bro, I don't know about that part. So I think it was just the image. Because if he's at App State, do we care? Does anybody care? If he's at coaching under Herm Edwards at Arizona, do we care?
Arizona State,
you're right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know, but I think to answer your question on redemption, I think, and why else do we have prison sentences, right? Why are there term limits on what you're meant to do in the time you're supposed to serve to pay back to society, right? So the thought process is that the sentence is equitable to the crime, right? And that serves as a safe rehab period for the person to turn their life around, learn what they need to, then reacclimate into society, right? And not have all the benefits of being a normal citizen in society during that point in time.
Right.
If you apply that same theory, underlying logic to, somebody that needs redemption in, a career, he didn't go to jail. He didn't get, a prison sentence. I don't know what the time served should be, but he also wasn't the athletic director. And if you think the football team was the only team at that university that had issues during that time period, I think you're wrong, right? You look at the basketball team, you look at the women's basketball team. So
it looked like everything at Baylor was off.
Right. And so he was, I'm not saying he wasn't culpable. He doesn't have every penalty coming to him, right? His responsibility, at the end of the day, he was getting paid the check. So, but I absolutely think he should have an opportunity to be redeemed. And I think at some point, anybody's perspective, if you lean towards redemption, right, and building somebody back up versus, is it not the right fit, or I want him to have a second chance, but just not with us, or like that's a little two-faced, you know what I mean? So I don't know if Grambling State mattered. If Hugh Jackson was willing to give that man a chance and put him in a structured environment to be successful, maybe Grambling could have communicated that better, right? Maybe Hugh comes out and said, hey, I know this isn't going to be a popular pick, but it is what it is, and we're committed to him, right? And our athletic director is committed to him, and the president of our university is committed to him, right? And our boosters are committed to him. And once we have that kind of alignment, this is the structure we're going to put in place to make sure Art's successful here, right? Yeah. And then you perpetuate that with good story after good story after good story of how he's performing in that system. Next thing you know, you've got exactly. You got a guy that got a second chance and took advantage of it. And he's probably head coach again someday too, right? He's too good of a coach not to be. And we always say talent equals tolerance, right?
Yeah, I just think that's a bad fit. I just don't think Grambling has the structure. It's too new. They've gone through years and years and years of bad football here lately. And they're trying something that they've never tried before in bringing in a somewhat proven head coach in the NFL and a reasonable name to try to turn the whole thing around. I just think that's a risky thing to do. If the guy that's in that seat, I think let me say it this way.
But who's doing the injustice, Lloyd? Who's doing the injustice? Because if you're about to say you're doing Hugh Jackson wrong by bringing him in, it's Hugh Jackson's call to bring him in. And if you hire me as the head coach of your program, the first thing I better have is control over who I hire. Right? Because I want to put my staff together so I can put a product on the field, justify the decision you just made. So,
while that's the sports side of it, the business side of it is don't do anything, and I mean anything, to embarrass this university. And hiring a guy without explanation, because what you said, I think was the key that was missing. The day Art Briles is named, Hugh has to do a press conference that day and stand in front of microphones and say, this is the reason why I'm doing it.
Exactly.
And lead with every man needs to have the opportunity to redeem himself. And I want the opportunity. He's a friend. I consider him. You can go there. If you want to go there, go there. Everybody else does. I believe he's a brother in the Lord. And look, bring out all the greatest hits and sell the hire. And that's the part that I don't think he did a great job of. They didn't sell the hire.
Because that could have been a win for the program, right? If Art Briles turns into a redemption story and they're super successful on the field, they start putting together a winning product that brings more money into the program, right? They start scheduling big games. Like,
how about this? That could have been a win on and off the field.
And for the whole conference, to be honest.
Yeah. So 6 years of losing season, not embarrassing. No, it's totally embarrassing.
Talent equals tolerance, right? You don't want to have 6 more losing seasons. Maybe you got to take a risk somewhere.
Yeah. So that was that story. I don't know. We'll see how that works out. Because now I think Hugh, they kind of gonna be giving Hugh the side eye a little bit, just to say, bro, like, you good? Like you good? You straight?
It'll be interesting to see who the replacement will be.
Yeah. And then the final breaking news right before we start the show tonight. Guess who's back? Back again. Katie's back. Tell a friend. Is it too late?
I thought I was talking crazy.
Hey, you're not going to start that with, as the prophet once said, or in the words of the prophet.
In the word, well, I could say in the words of the prophet Jesse Wright. Was it the prophet Jesse Wright that said, or who said it?
No, I'm not from Michigan.
Oh, well,
I told y'all KD was coming back.
yeah, the prophet of
Y'all
that was
blasted me.
you, Cam, wasn't it?
Y'all blasted me last week for that.
No, I didn't. I didn't blast you.
What do you mean we blasted? What do you mean?
Y'all thought I was crazy. I ain't heard that. No, that ain't gonna happen. No, it's too early. It's too this. It don't matter.
Well, I still think it might be too early, but listen, they drowning.
To save the season, he has to come back.
Hey, there's an old song we used to sing in the church that say Pharaoh's army. They got drowned in the Red Sea.
So Lord,
I think that's kind of where we are with this team right now.
Lord team is Milwaukee, and
Who's the team?
your pick is Milwaukee in the East.
I don't even have a pick yet. We about to get to that in a minute.
You always talking about Milwaukee. No, they can't
I
be
love what
Milwaukee.
they're doing. I love what they're doing, but
Okay.
but we ain't got to that part of the show yet.
But you always make a point that Brooklyn is not going to beat Milwaukee. They're not scared of them, which we know that part. They're not scared of them. But you always making a point that they're going to beat them and stuff like that. And I think they just beat Milwaukee without KD.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, don't do that, man. Don't do
It's
that.
hard.
But Kyrie was looking good. Don't do that.
Man, my daughter has beat me at a board game or two from time to time too.
Oh,
But I was also watching the game while I was playing.
No. That's a statement game, though. That's different. That's a statement game.
It's for who? Yeah, for the Nets, not for the
Exactly.
returning
Yeah.
Okay.
champions.
All right.
I don't know. Listen, KD coming back could save the entire season. But I will say this. The last time we saw KD rush back to save a team, it didn't end well.
He's not rushing back, though.
We'll see.
It all hinges on Kyrie and what this New York mandate thing is going, if it's going to get pushed through or not, because they need all the firepower they can get. They need all.
Well, listen, that is actually interesting. Just to hear you say that, because a couple of reports came out today. Number one, somebody from the mayor's office who doesn't listen to sports got wind of they could pay the fine, and they were like, no, he can't. So the mayor's office announced they can't pay a fine to have him back. So he's gonna have to. They said that would not be fair to all of the other people in the world in New York that don't get to pay a fine.
Yeah, because we did math. It was like $60,000, and if they're spending how much money to charter their WNBA team around, they're going to pay $60,000 to get Kyrie back.
Absolutely,
20 games.
Right. So they said no, they're not going to do that. He's either going to get the shot or he's not, and if he doesn't, then he doesn't play. So there's technically no timetable yet as to when that's going to be. Now, some believe it could happen. We're weeks away, or maybe even days away. We'll see. But KD coming back could be helpful. Because how many games out are they now? Well, they're not out right now.
They're in like the 8th or the 9th spot.
Right. Technically, I think they're still in. But I mean, if we're using technicalities, the Lakers are still in technically. I mean, we're talking about technicalities. Brooklyn's in the 8th spot, so they got a 2-game lead over the Hornets and the Hawks, and a 2.5-game lead over Washington.
So if they stay in the 8th spot, who would they be playing? Who's the number one? Miami.
Yeah, but they wouldn't play. Would they play the number one?
If
after the play game, yes,
right.
Yeah.
They play Toronto first, right?
Yes.
Then they
without Kyrie.
Then they'd have to play who? Who's between Toronto and the Celtics?
No, the Celtics are technically in the 6th spot.
Oh, okay. So they would play who's after the Nets?
Well, if the Nets beat Toronto, they're in. They get the 7th spot and they're in.
Right.
Oh, it's just 8-9. Okay.
Right. 9 and 10 got to play 2 games.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
9 and 10 got 9 and 10, and the loser of the 7-8 got to play 2 games.
Okay.
Yeah. So if the Nets would have beat Toronto without Kyrie, they'd be in. But then if they lost that,
Toronto's got a mandate too, by the way. So it depends.
Right. Huh?
So if that game's in Toronto, it doesn't matter what happens in Brooklyn.
And that game would be right now today. That game would be in Toronto.
Right now, today, Kyrie wouldn't play in it.
Kyrie would not play in that game. So you're down Kyrie, and you don't right now know what you're going to get out of Ben Simmons
With 20 games left.
with 20 games left. So it's interesting. Just call it. Tell you get your code. That's funny. But listen, KD on the team gives you a chance. It obviously gives you a chance. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What we
Hey,
talking about?
it's KD, Drummond, and Curry.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And
That
Josh.
gives you a chance. That gives you a chance. But that also brings us to question number 1. Who's your MVP today?
Woo, my goodness.
Prior to yesterday or this last week, I would have said going away right now is Joel Embiid. I would say, it's Joel Embiid.
My pick ain't changed.
I still say Joel Embiid.
Y'all still say Joel Embiid?
I say Joel Embiid.
I'm gonna say this, man.
John Morant.
Well,
That kid, John Morant, is coming though.
Morant.
Joel,
No, yeah,
but
he's in the
I think
conversation.
Joel, the way Joel, well, I guess we'll get to that here in a second. But
If
that
you
John
take
Morant,
Embiid off the team, can they still win with James Harden and the players that they have?
well,
If
you
you
say
take
that about a lot of people though.
well,
Yeah,
well,
I mean-
we're talking about MVP, the most valuable player. That's why Peyton Manning
With
won.
those people around,
You say that about a lot of guys.
they'll still make the playoffs, I believe.
Well, we know they're gonna make the playoffs. They number one.
What do you mean as far as how far they would go? Is that what you're talking about? How far would they go if they took him off? Because I mean, if we're just talking about them making the playoffs, yes. But if we're talking about them being one of the top 4 teams, then
Right. Because you can say that about a lot. You can say about Jokic. Jokic is literally carrying them in the back of a pickup truck to the playoffs. And he's got to be in the conversation, I would think. You can say that about John Morant. You can say that about DeMar DeRozan. Don't you have to say that about DeMar DeRozan? With Ball out and Alex Caruso out, him and Zach. But I guess you can kind of say he and Zach together doing it. But DeMar been balling, man.
yeah.
So it's gonna be an interesting race down the stretch, man.
yeah, but let's just talk about the stats for a second. So I just pulled it up. I knew Ja had those 2 big games, but I didn't know how that had pushed him. So Joel's still scoring 2 more points a game, right?
Okay.
Joel shoots better 3-pointers than John Morant does. John Morant's 34% from 3.
Right.
75% from the line. That's less than Embiid. He's got 6 rebounds a game. That's half of Embiid, right? He's got 2 more assists a game. Same steals, and Embiid's got him up by a block. And when you're talking about PER, Embiid's got a 20% jump on him there too. So, like, Embiid's still across the board every single category except for assists. He's beaten John Morant this year.
And let me say
And he's
this.
got the defensive player of the year that he's going to be up for, if not win as well.
Right. So with that being said, let me tell you why John Morant might have the edge on him going forward. Because going forward, if their numbers are similar,
Harden gonna take.
there you go. Do you give it to the guy that's got the all-star with him and former MVP, or do you give it to the guy who is single-handedly basically carrying his entire team, just like Jokic did last year? Joel could literally lose the the MVP vote the exact same way for 2 years in a row.
I mean, but Harden just got there, and B's been doing this. I I would want to see him, be able to get it because he's definitely put in the work. Even though now his shots are going to come easier with Harden on the floor, as far as getting open shots, but I think he does deserve it. I mean, not taking anything away from Ja, but I think he does deserve it.
The reason I can't go by the numbers. I mean, you got to go by the numbers. It's a two-way.
Well, numbers are part of the conversation.
Right.
But I agree with you.
Go by the eye test and all that stuff. If you're going to go strictly off numbers, I mean, I'm just saying, if you're going off numbers, you have to put LeBron in the conversation, but he shouldn't be in the conversation because what his team is doing.
Right.
If you're going by the numbers and the eye test and Jesse threw in defense, well, you got to go ahead and write it down for the next 5 years and give it to Giannis. Just like that. You know what I mean? So I really want to see when the voters say, like, I want not explanation. We know why, who, when, what, and all that stuff. I mean, but, like you saying about if they add the point guard, well, guess what? Curry won it back-to-back with Klay Thompson. So I hear you.
That's a good point. That's a great point. How many guys, we're wrapping with this, how many guys right now, this late in the season, would you say are legit MVP candidates?
At least 5, man.
4 or 5.
Like you said, definitely Ja.
I think Ja's in it. Yeah, I think DeMar is still there.
I don't know how you not include Steph. I don't know how you not.
Yeah,
Steph, and then I think you got to kind of put Luka in there somewhere. I don't know where he falls, but I think he's playing.
I can't give it to Luka yet.
I mean, I'm not saying give it to him, but he's
yeah.
What?
This is a very interesting year for this conversation, in my opinion, because normally by now you're looking at a 2 to 3, possibly 4-man race. This year you can make a legit case for about 6 or 7 guys. You say, and by the way, if KD comes back and drags them from the play-in game to like a 4 seed or a 3 seed, which is not an impossibility based on where the standings are.
Yeah. Like you said,
how do you argue
6
with that?
7 people. Like 6
yeah,
7
so
people.
because he was playing at the MVP level before he got hurt. So this is going to be an interesting run down the stretch, man.
In that same breath that you just said, if LeBron want to bring his team back and they fighting for a 5th,
you got to put him in the conversation if he was able to do it.
I just feel like it's already ran away. I feel like DeRozan has ran away with it. I feel like Morant has run away with it. I feel like Embiid has run away with it. I feel like Chris Paul was on that level before he got hurt. So
he was definitely in that conversation before he got hurt. Yeah.
Did I say that about Chris Paul? Did I say that?
I know it's knocking. I'm a little nervous because I don't want the whole system to shut down based on that. But that brings us to an interesting number 2 question, and the perfect number 2 question to go with that one. So who now is the best duo in the NBA?
This is easy. I want to hear everybody else's. This is easy for me.
Go ahead. Okay. If healthy.
It's got to be Cam and Jesse. It's got to be.
Oh no, that Lloyd and Chad is a good one too.
I know.
He dominates inside and out.
I don't know if we going. I mean, I don't know. Healthy, I gotta still give it to Klay and Steph. But I mean, as far as I'm saying, I'm saying as of right now,
that's so biased.
As of right now, and the way that they're clicking right now, I give it to Embiid and James Harden.
Already?
As of while they're clicking right now, yeah.
Right. Listen, I don't know if I give it to him already. But boy, you talking about coming in hot.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what two things that impressed me the most about watching them the other night. And it was really scary. And I don't know if you guys saw some of the highlights, but there was one particular highlight where James was on the left wing and he drug out the 2 defenders over on the left side. He paused. He paused his dribble there. Embiid held his guy off of his his left shoulder. As if like it was almost like it wasn't a pick play, but it was like, I'm gonna hold you here and wait.
And he slipped
As soon as the two defenders by the basket looked off, we call it an open pocket pass because it's a hard pass to do, number one, but it's a hard play to get if the big man doesn't seal properly. And so he sealed on that open pocket, and James threw him a dime. And I'm saying, wait a minute, y'all done played 2 games, and y'all got that going.
It's like he's
already. Like that's right. So y'all got that locked. That's locked in. So that scared me a little bit. I ain't gonna lie to you. And then here's the other thing that none of us have realized yet. I've watched both the games, and they're playing right now. I've yet to see them do a pick and pop.
Facts.
That's scary. They've yet to do a pick and pop, and they legit can do a pick and pop with Embiid.
Yeah.
What do you do then?
Yeah. Pray.
Yeah.
So I'm
and they still got Tyrese Maxey over there raising his game up too. That's what I like is how he's been, able to play off of James Harden.
right. But having said that, I don't know if that's my best duo yet. It's too early, man. I can't. I know it looks amazing, but I don't know if I'm ready to give him the best duo yet. So, who are you going with, Jesse? Who are you going with on this one?
Oh, you the host. Okay. I got
mine will be a little bit off the road.
yeah, it's gotta be Philly. It's gotta be Philly.
Already?
Jamal Crawford said something the other night on TNT. He set in for I forget who he set in for, but he was on the broadcast with Shaq and he said I've always said good players make themselves better, great players make others
better. Yes.
And that's what I think happens here with Harden. You see what Embiid's numbers are before he got there, right? And he's already top across the board. He's better than everybody, right? And then you throw in the defense. And now if Harden makes him better,
oh Jesus,
that's
like Harden's 2 rebounds away from having a 23-point triple-double season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then you got him making the best player in the NBA better. Like that's dangerous. I think they're already the best team, the best duo in the NBA.
Boy, it's hard to argue in for what your eyes saw.
Yeah. Go through the teams and the duos. You really just have one person that they don't really have a lot of duos in the NBA.
Well,
but when you say duels, it's not necessarily big man and guard.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying just
Tatum and Brown, right?
Tatum and Brown, Giannis and Middleton,
AD and LeBron,
right? Booker and Paul when healthy, obviously.
right?
I want to hear
Clay
mine.
and Steph are both guards.
I want to hear mine. Y'all keep going.
I
told you mine is gonna be a little bit off the radar, but mine it makes sense too. So I want to hear y'all.
Okay.
If you ain't naming them, it make me feel like I'm. Way
Denver's got a great duo too, though.
when healthy, listen, Jokic Murray is nice.
Jokic and Murray is nice.
Yeah. That's very nice.
That's my win healthy too. Because what about the future Cleveland, Darius Garland and Mobley?
We don't
could be.
Stop.
I'm just saying. I said they could be. They already leaps and bounds where I thought they would be. So
they're ahead of the curve. That's for sure.
They could be.
You can make a case for DeRozan and Levine. I don't want to. I feel like saying Philly is. Maybe I'm. I know what I saw though. That's the problem. I know what I saw.
All right, if it's not them, then who is it, Lloyd?
Right, that's what I'm saying. I know what I saw.
Would you put KD and Kyrie in there? But it's just not. Or you haven't seen them?
No.
I'm gonna tell you who I like for different reasons.
Go ahead.
Okay, I like Donovan Mitchell and Gobert.
I knew you were gonna say that. Because it's just because if
take them. I ain't gonna say just take them off the team, but when they on the court, like it clicks. Like, and I'm not saying the other ones don't, but like the entire game runs through both of those players. The entire
They
game.
don't even like each other.
Huh?
They don't even like each other.
And they don't like each other. Just imagine. I mean, I ain't gonna say they don't like each other, but it's like a Shaq and Kobe thing. Like,
I'll say this about that pairing, that duo. They're the most unique pairing in the league for sure, because all the other pairings that we're talking about are purely offensive pairings. They're the only, I got the offense, I got the defense, and that's how we make it work.
Not with Joel and Harden.
But I'm saying Gobert is purely defensive.
But
Like,
Embiid's a better defensive player than Gobert and brings the offense.
but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Gobert's focus when he steps on the court every night is I'm anchoring his defense.
whoa,
Yeah.
go back, go back.
What?
Embiid is a better defensive player than Gobert.
I mean, he's right there. They're
How many awards have you won? Embiid.
Well,
I mean,
but
that's
this-
that's subjective. That's subjective, though. That's
Hey,
You're right.
Let's throw
well, I
it
don't
in.
know. He is right about that one.
Okay, but on
Yes.
this one, Cam, I don't want to go by the numbers.
Okay, I got you.
I don't think Gobert is a better defender than Embiid, if I'm being honest. Just because you can stand in the middle and block some shots, that don't make you a bit. Patrick Ewing could do that,
Okay.
and that didn't make him a better defender than Olajuwon or a better defender than David Robinson.
I hope nobody in this world have said that he's a better defender than any of those guys you just named. Anyway.
Well, but that's my point. Gobert has won that award primarily because of his ability to block shots and to bring a certain intimidation to the middle from that perspective. But on-ball defender,
But ain't that kind of what defines you in that position, though?
no, not to me. Not to me. I'm old school though. I'm old school.
So Steph Curry was the MVP for back-to-back years because of what?
That's a different skill set.
Okay.
When we're talking about defense,
That's like defensive player of the year.
no, but here's what I'm saying. To me, okay, I'll ask this question. Is Gobert defense to defense, is he a better defender than Draymond Green?
No.
No.
It's not even close. And that's my point. What Draymond does defensively, 1 through 5, is undeniable. What Gobert does, he holds your middle down, he clogs it, he blocks shots, he rebounds. Listen, his skill set is undeniable. He's an all-star.
So the two people you just named probably got 7 of the last 10.
But my point of that is Embiid is a much better on-ball defender.
I can't.
3 through 5, Embiid. I take Embiid on ball before Rudy Gobert.
I understand that with the team you got, you may have to. With Gobert, you may not have to do that though. I get it.
Mm.
AD been in the conversation for it too, and he's a off the ball block shot. That's what he is. I mean, I get it, but
I can give you Gobert as a better defender, but Embiid's a better all around player. I'll give you that.
Well, I think that's
of
definitely.
course he's a better all around.
Yeah, I mean.
And if you want to talk about all around players, a la LeBron James, the last 30 years, I would say that person would be Giannis.
Right, Jimmy. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Listen, y'all may have convinced me. I was gonna go a whole different way with this, and now I can't get Philly what I've seen in Philly out of my head. I'm stuck.
Yeah, you can't.
I'm stuck, man, because
The things we've seen the last 2 games, it's like,
bro, the thing I'm seeing in the game right now, where New York jumped out to a 7-8 point lead, and Philly now has tied the score within 3 minutes. I mean,
and the
Like
last
James
time
Harden and Embiid played in the offseason.
Embiid fouled both big men out, like late in the third quarter.
I feel like James Harden and Embiid was playing pickup ball in the offseason together. So
You know what, Chad? Hey, Chad, you're exactly right. You know why? Because this was already planned, bro.
exactly.
Well, I'm
I
gonna
feel
tell you
that-
something.
I feel it too.
I'm gonna tell you something, and I think we might be. We haven't brought this up, but we'll go ahead and bring this up now. This is bad. This is bad. I'm warning you guys in advance. This is what I'm about to say is bad. At some point, we have to look at tampering, don't we?
Not if Morey and Harden was on the Rockets together and they had a conversation, I don't think it's tampering because they were in the same organization.
No, man.
Bro,
Listen,
bro.
listen.
I don't know.
Anybody that's ever played basketball knows the timing.
Yeah.
The reason why I brought up the open pocket seal in the past, that is one of the hardest plays to master because it's a timing play. It's a purely timing play. And most of the time, you're able to execute it purely because of what? Repetition.
Oh, yeah.
You would have had to have run it a few times to be able to kind of master it. Everybody's got to be on the same mental and physical and page. They ran it out the gate.
But we know guys do runs in the summer anyway, so that's.
So what you saying is, so what you're really trying to say, and I really get it now. What you're really trying to say is that LeBron and Westbrook didn't play summer league ball together.
They didn't play summer league ball at all. They clearly they were two different. They took their Taco Tuesday way too seriously. That was not the assignment. But I don't know. I guess I'm gonna say Philly, Jesse. I'm going back to the original question. I guess I gotta say Philly because I just don't see. And by the way, I'm comparing Philly because Cam said I already love Milwaukee, so I'll go there now. Milwaukee doesn't have that. They have Giannis, and Chris can take over a game, but they don't have that.
Well, yeah. Well, the reason I would give you the edge with Milwaukee over that is because Holiday popped up everything. I mean,
Exactly. And he makes it challenging for he could make it challenging for James. But here's the problem. James ain't never had a pick and roll partner like this before.
No, he haven't. This is crazy.
So,
This is ugly.
so Drew Holiday ain't getting around that pick.
Yeah, this is ugly.
I think y'all talked me into it. I was gonna go a whole different route, but I think you may have talked me into it. All right. What coach you trust? What coach do you trust coming down the stretch more?
Well, that's tough.
That is tough.
Yeah, that's real tough.
Because guess what?
Got some youngsters.
I got to ask this question.
I got it.
It's a tough
I
question.
got it though. Ooh, I got it though.
Question.
Ooh, I
This
got
tough
it.
question right here.
I got four.
Is Doc out of excuses now?
Yes.
Yeah. I have four that come to mind off the top. I had Eric Spoelstra, Monty Williams,
Yeah.
Steve Kerr, and Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd.
Wow.
From how I'm seeing that he's coaching the team. Yeah, right now.
That last one was very interesting. Okay.
From how I'm seeing they're responding, yeah.
The first three I can absolutely get on board with. In fact, I would say yay and amen on the first three.
Yeah.
My fourth though, I'm gonna go.
Ooh, Boo-hole.
No. I think I'm going out to Denver. I think because he's basically running it back to him for the most part, and he knows what Jokic is. He knows what Murray is. Murray looks like he's going to be back.
Jokic is not enough.
I don't know, man. I struggle between Denver's coach and Quinn Snyder
Of who you trust?
of who I trust.
His name's Quinn Snyder.
Why are you shaming Quinn Snyder?
I'm not. I said his name is Quinn Snyder.
But why would you say that?
Why should you trust him?
Do you not trust him because his name is Quinn Snyder?
No, I do trust him.
I know.
You're trying to say who do you trust, and you gave two names, and I said his name is Quinn Snyder.
Yeah. Oh, you thought I know the name? I said Quinn Snyder, didn't I? I thought I said.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
wasn't
okay.
correcting you. I was just saying that's
Oh,
the
okay.
one you should choose.
Got you. Okay, I got you. I think I'm gonna lead him to Quinn Snyder on that one, on my fourth one.
Of who you trust?
Yeah.
Don't you? Haven't you had to prove something to be trustworthy?
I've never seen him lose a game.
Okay.
He's not Mike McCarthy.
He's not Mike McCarthy.
That's
I've
not
never
Steve
seen him
Nash.
lose a game.
He's not. Mike McCarthy got jury. He's not Mike McCarthy.
Stop. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Don't be that.
All right, well, okay.
Who do you trust, Ken?
Steve Kerr?
Well,
Because everybody's so quick to say, oh, they supposed to win. They got all this, man. When you coaching personalities and the people around that, that's tough.
very tough. Very tough.
I trust Kerr in any situation there is out there. I want to say Monty Williams because he was there last year, and I just think the better team won last year.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it would be Monty Williams or Steve Kerr for me, hands down.
I do trust Spoelstra though. I like that selection, Chad, because he's still coaching like he's still trying to get it out the mud. And they just named him one of the 15 greatest coaches of all time. And he still coached like he's proven himself. I like that, man. That hunger. I like
He learned
it.
how to do it the right way too.
Yeah, man. I like it.
Even having to coach LeBron James, he's still hanging. You know, that's good. That's impressive, really.
That is impressive. Yeah. That is
I think he held his own with LeBron too. I don't think LeBron coached that team.
Well,
I agree.
It was a little easier for him, just because he had the bagging of the president.
Pat
Oh
Riley.
yeah. He couldn't backdoor Eric Spoelstra
Right.
and go around him to the owner like or the GM like some
That's Pat's guy. That's Pat's guy.
I like
allowed him to do.
I like Donovan in Chicago.
I do.
I think he's been successful everywhere he's been. I get we're talking about getting into the playoffs and being successful there, but I mean, I think he's doing a great job this year. He might be one of those Coach of the Year finalists at the end of the day. What he's done,
Very much so.
Who,
Very
Donovan?
much so. Yeah.
Donovan in Chicago.
He's got to be in the conversation, doesn't he?
Donovan?
Yeah. From where they were. Yeah.
The guy that had OKC playing great?
From Florida.
Yeah.
The guy from Florida
Yeah.
that won those ships with Horford and
Back to back?
back.
Yeah.
He might be
And,
the runaway at this point.
Right.
No. Don't do that.
I wouldn't.
Don't do that.
He was in the running, but not the runaway.
Not right.
Who name his competition?
Steve Kerr?
No.
Okay.
For Coach of the Year,
Okay.
I wouldn't put Steve Kerr there.
Okay, but that's going to be there though.
He'll be in the, he'll of course he'll be there because of the record and what they've done this year. But I turn around from last year to this year.
You name all those people that he's playing. That ain't supposed to be happening. What Golden State is doing. You know what Steve Kerr is. I mean, you know what Klay Thomas is, and you know what Steph is. Draymond's been out. Poole and all these other guys, Kuminga, all these.
Listen, I love what you're saying, and I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I'm just looking at adding one player, Stir, and number 1 seed or 2 seed.
They did not.
That's impressive.
They did not just add one player.
Well, but you know what I'm saying. They added a guy who's a mid-range shooter,
Okay,
and all of a sudden they're a 2 seed.
and they averaged 2 great defenders.
Yeah, we just had him back for it. But I like in the chat, it said Taylor Jenkins from Memphis.
He got to be in the conversation.
You don't know nothing about him though. If
we're talking about trust, right? We're talking about trust. That's hard. Yeah,
Right.
That's a good point.
He's got a top 5 player in the league where that Western Conference, aside from I guess you could take Golden State too, but like all those teams have had major injury problems, right? Between the Jazz and Denver and the Lakers, all those teams that are supposed to be above Memphis right now in the standings. But I also like, hey, listen, I think if you want to talk about coaching, I mean, what Udoka's done in Boston this year,
Amazing.
where they started to where they are now, and how he's been finally able to get that Tatum Brown experience to feel like it's working, albeit a short sprint so far. And what he's done is, creating a defensive identity for that team, right? Allows them to go do things like be proactive by the trade deadline and pull a Derek White move, right? Because you know what you're adding to, you know where your gaps are, you know what your rotation is, you know what your identity is, you know the missing piece at that point. So I'm not saying I trust him yet in the playoffs, but he's got a great pedigree, right? And he's been there before, whether it's in San Antonio or Brooklyn or whatever. And, he learned from one of the best, and here he is doing a great job. I think he will be in the conversation shortly.
All right. But the most for everybody is who? You said Steve Kerr, Cam. I'm gonna say my most that I trust.
Stop it, boy.
Boob noser. That's what you say.
Everybody's gonna go 4-0. Steve Kerr.
5 Steve Kerr. I
Steve
mean,
Kerr,
how do you not say Steve Kerr? I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4. 7 of the top teams last weekend looked ridiculously bad. Now, granted, I think all those games were on the road, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe they had a lot to do with it. Then the other night, just Monday night, was it Monday or Tuesday? Down goes Kansas, down goes Purdue. Somebody tell me, because I got a bracket to fill out in about a week and a half. Can somebody please tell me who the best team in college basketball is right now? Like, for real, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I mean, I still have to give it to Gonzaga. I think I still would pick Gonzaga, even though they lost.
Like I said, we picked our favorite who we thought didn't make it. Didn't necessarily mean that's who was
Right.
who we were going right. I would say this year, because there is no dominant like that, it is setting up for a classic Duke team. Somebody like that, somebody with the experience of coaching, going back to coaching, situational basketball. It's boiling down to that kind of a winner this year. Because it's not over Trump with talent. You know what I mean? So
I want to throw something out real quick. Never has the number 1 overall pick been more important to your tournament success than this year. Normally, it's a deal, but it's not like, you had to have it. You could pretty much come out of any bracket if you were a good team. Not this year. I think if you get that easiest route, you can breathe just a little bit easier to get to that final. So I think this last week or so is going to be a dogfight. And let me ask this question as we're still answering the same question. Has Gonzaga earned that number 1 overall? Like, are they truly the best team of all to get the number 1 overall and virtually the easiest path to the Final Four?
BPI says they are.
it's hard to say.
Yeah, the numbers, yeah. But I mean, yeah. But I also don't think Duke will be nice with the storybook ending for Coach K too. So I mean, that would be a good one, good little story too. But I think Gonzaga, will be.
Well, listen, the journalist in me wants Duke to do it just to say to watch Coach K right off into the sunset.
Exactly.
But I honestly, there's flaws, man. There's real flaws in that team.
Well, there's flaws.
We can talk about this later. But breaking news: Coach K is not going to ride out in the sunset. He's not going to stroke.
Big stage, going to the big stage.
What's the big stage?
NBA,
North Carolina.
NBA.
Very rude. Very rude.
Hey, we do got more than Duke. We got more than Duke.
Oh my goodness.
So you're saying you're firing Frank Vogel and Coach K will be the Lakers coach?
Nope.
Jimmy said Arizona. Everybody's overlooking Arizona.
They are, and they good. Lord, you had to talk about Arizona. We did. It's a guard play we don't trust.
I know, man. I honestly can't. If you threw a name out at me right now, I'd be like, okay.
Right.
I don't know how to respond to any of it. I'm definitely gonna be watching these conference tournaments because I really don't know how to respond. You know what's funny? on the women's side, it's always so clear. It's so clear. It's South Carolina, it's Louisville, it's Stanford, it's Arizona, and everybody else is trying to figure it out.
Connecticut.
UConn.
Yeah, UConn too. Yeah.
Maybe UConn, now that Paige Beckers is back. Okay, maybe.
Oh, you talking about this year? Oh yeah,
Yeah, this year, right.
Yeah, they're
Right.
not a fit in.
Yeah, they're not a shoe in this year because Paige is working her way self back. But most of the time, and LSU, you can throw LSU in there. There's some teams that can make it interesting for
That
sure.
was fast. That was fast.
Iowa's got a nice little.
Yeah, listen, there's some teams on the.
Caitlin Clark's the real deal.
Oh, yeah.
For all y'all WNBA fans out there.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Caitlin Clark is the Trae Young
For sure.
women's basketball right now.
Quiet as kept, she may have played herself into the first pick in the draft.
It
And it may not even be close.
may not even be close.
Right, it may not even be close. She's killing it. Killing it. Yes. So, but with at least you can call the names of the teams we've called and be like, okay, that's my list. I'm good. If I circle around somewhere around there, we're fine. I don't trust any of these teams.
And for that reason, Lord,
It's wide open.
That's why I say this is setting up perfectly for a Duke team.
And see, I can't argue against that because it's Coach K.
It's gonna be more. It's gonna be more than athleticism and basketball to win it this year. I think coaching and situational basketball.
See, that's a team with what they still have left, right? With their tournaments and stuff. Like, I don't care if Kentucky loses in the second round. They're still Kentucky, right? And who did they lose to, right? Auburn, Tennessee. I damn sure don't trust them. So, like, Kentucky's not going to really tell me anything. If Houston runs away and wins the American, if Arizona runs away and win the Pac-12, if Gonzaga runs, like, we're not going to care, right? And like Wisconsin and Purdue, that was Purdue's one of the top 10 teams that lost last week,
Right.
but they lost to the 10th ranked team, right? Wisconsin. It was only by 3 points. So, that Big Ten goes and beats itself up, and that's still not going to tell you anything coming out of that. But you're not going to pick a definitive winner from that conference. So, like, for me, it's like Duke can tell us something if they go out and win the ACC, right?
If
Duke
they
can win
dominate.
the ACC,
If
get
they
through that
dominate.
gauntlet.
Yeah.
Right. And,
Yeah.
I think you have to say, right, like my money would be on them at that point. They could also lose in the second round of the tournament. And that would
Absolutely.
tell me something too, right? That they're fallible on any day to any mid team. So
Yeah. I want to see somebody go dominate their conference tournament. I mean, bell to bell, we got the momentum. We're coming in hot. That's what I'd like to see.
Houston's going to do that.
They may get my pick based on that. If they blowing people out from bell to bell, they may, because Houston made a run last year. So
You're right, but if Kansas can blow out in the Big 12, right,
That'd
you
be
might
awesome.
feel better about them. If
Yeah.
Tech runs the table, right, you might like them a little better than a 3 seed, right? But
it's so wide open, man. So wide open. All right. Woo. So before we get to our fifth question, we have a development story. Should I properly prepare myself for this story? I can do that if you guys need me to. That's not a problem.
I thought you left them because of the coaching situation.
I don't know. Cam's already on his second wardrobe change, so
Right. Let me get to my first and only wardrobe change here of the night.
I'm
And it's
changing wardrobe.
interesting because I'm gonna wear the shirt backwards, so you'll be able to see where I'm going with this.
I may change wardrobe, but I'll never change teams.
Oh no, that's exactly right.
I'd tell you the problem is you can't wear any of your colors for any of your other teams.
So this shirt may not age well, is what I'm saying. There's a strong possibility this ain't gonna age well.
That would be considered a throwback.
It is definitely going to. I don't even know if it's considered that because he hadn't played enough to be worth to be a throwback. So it looks like there is some consideration for this. And right before the show, I think it was Chad. Chad, you asked me, how do you feel about that? I don't know how to feel about that because I don't know if his situation is any different than Daniel Jones' situation. Like when he's healthy, what have we done to make life easier for him? In the words of our owner, we couldn't have screwed this guy up any more than we already have. So then you ask yourself, okay, why trading? But the other flip side of that is, why not trading? While he still has unknown value. So I am very conflicted. And Jess, you had a point that I thought was phenomenal before the show. I wish you would share that with us if you don't mind, sir.
Yeah, no, I just said I think that if you're the Giants, right, and you're looking at we're in rebuild mode and what pieces do we have and where do we need to start from? I think you start with a quarterback wide receiver before you start with a quarterback running back, right? First of all, and I think there are a lot of other key positions on the field, right? Left tackle, edge rusher, middle linebacker, lockdown corner, right? There are other positions on the field that you also might want to invest in before you're investing in a running back. So if you can trade Saquon for one of those pieces, right, or the pick that gets you that piece, then I think you absolutely do it because, first of all, even if you're just talking about wide receivers instead of running backs, your defense helps your offense if you go any of those positions, but then you have to protect the quarterback or it doesn't matter what you're doing. And then I think you got to throw the ball in today's league to open up the running game. And so it doesn't do you any good to have a workhorse back there that can't go anywhere because your offensive line can't block for him or you can't get, the defense out of the box. So I'm a big fan of them moving on from Barkley and hopefully he has enough equity to get them something, right? And if they don't like the package, maybe they let him play, raise his value a little bit at the beginning of the season. But I would move him for another absolute must-have piece in the middle of a rebuild, right? You look at,
but it has to be a viable starting piece. It can't just be rando situation.
You need to know what his value is to be able to see who you can get.
But listen, his value is whatever anybody's willing to pay for him. But my thing is, it can't just be. It's got to be somebody that you can plug and play.
No, right. No, they have to make an impact on day one.
Yeah,
right. No, absolutely. But think about it. You can't
Yeah.
run the ball if you've got bad field position and you've got bad field position, right? And that's on your defense, right?
Yeah.
So now you're backed up against your goal line the whole time. You're having to throw the ball, but you can't get any pass blocking. There's something about running back being so far down the list of the fundamental pieces you want to start with when you're building from scratch.
Right.
That I think you
There's
have
a massive
to invest
miss.
elsewhere.
Yeah, there's a
Talking
massive
about the-
miss by Dave Gettleman. Massive miss.
I'm talking about the Giants or the Cowboys because that sounds a lot.
It sounds exactly. Well, now I thought about this. Now let me say this. Let me throw this out too,
No.
because there is a running back that we would definitely, if we make a trade
No.
and can also pull off getting a certain running back that's up free agent this year.
Ezekiel
I'd be all for it. Now, if you're gonna do that, I'm all for that. Because to me, going back to what you just said, Jesse, about a viable passing game, trade Saquon, get an offensive lineman that can truly help protect, maybe on that left side, and then go get Tony Pollard, who can do both run and catches out the back. Win. One.
No, what if you could trade? What if you could trade Saquon over for Russell Wilson straight up? Because they are running football team and you get to keep your draft picks.
Ooh,
What do you do with Daniel Jones?
I got
Who
dizzy.
cares? Who cares at that point if you
Man,
still got
he's
the number one draft pick?
I got
He's
so
holding the clipboard at that point. He just
I got
holding
so
the clipboard.
dizzy when you said that. That was so. That
I was just saying, that's Pete Carroll's ammo. He wants a running game, right? That's
Oh,
what
but
Pete
see,
Carroll
the thing about rebuilding around Daniel Jones right now is I think you got two things. One, you've got the owner that really has come out and honestly said,
He
we
said it.
haven't done this guy any favors, right?
Right.
So stop. It may be a little too soon to judge him. If we're not doing it, I don't think you guys should be. We know what we're seeing every day. And I think the second thing is he is a very cheap option to build around. So you can put in those fundamental key pieces that'll help make him better, but you also put them in place and have the money to do so. That creates the opportunity for you to be one quarterback away. And if Jones doesn't work out in a year, potentially two, you still had 2 years to build that infrastructure around him, and now you get somebody off the free agent market like a Russell Wilson or something like that, and next thing you know, you're cooking with fire.
Well, Dayball, real quick, Cam. Dayball's been in the building with him for about a month now, and just yesterday, as a matter of fact, our new GM said when asked, "Do you see any trade possibilities? Do you see is anybody like with a Saquon or anybody else?" He said, and I quote, "Everything is negotiable at this point."
That's the point I'm about to make. What you saying, Jesse, and what the owner's saying is he's supposed to say that. He's saying the right thing.
And that was the right thing to say. And he's not wrong. He's 100% correct.
But you mean to tell me if you could get a Russell Wilson and you're contemplating on having Daniel Jones, nobody is doing that.
What does Russell Wilson do on the Giants tomorrow if all you're doing is plugging and playing him for Daniel Jones?
He does a lot for the Giants if you're comparing him to Daniel Jones.
I'm just looking at the rest of the team.
I'm thinking about the team that wasn't so bad this year outside of injuries.
Well, I'm thinking about the division.
My point is
barring Washington getting Aaron Rodgers, which is not going to happen, Russell Wilson puts us back in the conversation for that division.
By the way, Booker is your best running back because of health reasons.
Well, I still got my eye on Tony Pollard, but
of course you do.
Well, I don't hate it.
You can keep Booker and then get you some quality wide receivers.
You have quality receivers. You don't have a quality quarterback that's throwing it to him.
To be honest with you, I don't know what we got on offense. I don't know what we got. We haven't. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't think they know.
So you don't like Galladay?
He wasn't there enough to like.
Okay. So you don't.
So I don't know. I don't know what to feel about Galladay.
So you don't like Tony?
Tony who?
The kid.
Kadarius Tony.
Again, not there enough to like or dislike. Like I saw flashes. I saw wonderful flashes, but
you don't like
hurt a lot.
You don't like Sterling Shepard.
I might be over Sterling Shepard.
I know why. That's personal.
I might be over Sterling Shepard.
Okay.
Right. We giving out big everything must go sell vibes for sure. I don't know
except for the quarterback.
No, everything must go. Like everything. I think if you're the Giants, everything you have to do what's best for where you're trying to take this franchise.
So don't touch the defense. Don't touch the defense, though.
I think the defense is the only thing. And when I say the defense, I'm not even talking about the whole defense. I'm talking about probably Jabril.
Damn sure better not touch Blake.
Blake. I think I'm okay with Leonard. I think he's fine. I don't love him, but I don't hate him. He hadn't done anything to make me not love him.
I just think you play in the NFC East. I think if you get healthy and get the right person that's quarterbacking, you play in the NFC East. The East have made the Cowboys look like they are a superior power football team.
Right. You can make enough changes to be competitive in the division. Maybe not win the Super Bowl, but enough, to be competitive in the division. So
but
then after that,
you didn't think you was gonna win the Super Bowl those 2 years when y'all won. When y'all was what?
The second one I did. The first one.
But that's my point.
Yeah, the first one I absolutely did. Yeah.
But that's my point. Once you in the NFL, once you get there, everybody got a chance in the playoffs.
That's true. That's very true. So what? I'm indifferent. To wrap this up, I'm very indifferent about the Saquon thing because I can make a case either way, and I don't think I'm wrong either way. I just think it's hard because, man, you bet so high on him as a franchise, and then the other thing is he'll go to the Patriots and be amazing. He'll win an MVP. That's because he's got that type of talent. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. It pisses me off. Going back to my old clothes. Y'all talk about this.
Wow.
It look like you got more trouble than quarterback and players. It's like you got.
We do.
It starts from the coaching, right?
Well, listen,
You can't have Brian Flores. It's horrible. We even talking about this, and that's no knock on the coach you got. But he was the offensive coordinator. Flores been in the fire.
I know. Listen, I went to the homecoming dance. I thought me and Brian had a connection. Turns out, my buddies were like, "Nah, man, this girl over here, like, she's so much more." And I was like, "Okay." And I mean, she's all right, but
in his defense, though, Jesse, if it was a possibility where he could trade and get Russell Westbrook for Saquon Barkley and not touch those
Wilson, yeah,
and not touch those two, or you're gonna make sure it ain't Westbrook. I don't blame you.
Hell yeah.
And make sure you don't touch those top 2 picks. That's a no-brainer. I don't care what their team look like.
If that is a possibility, then yes.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I just don't know if that is a possibility. Listen, we can take Saquon and Daniel Jones and ship all of that over to
Absolutely.
Seattle. You can have all that, bro. Maybe the Mountain Air do them some good.
Absolutely.
I'm dreaming on that, Jesse. I know.
They not gonna do that. Bro.
No, man. We've talked about 4 different conversations tonight where if the PR team had done a better job, we wouldn't be having the conversations, or we'd be having different conversations.
That's very
so, you know.
That's very true. That's very true. Very true.
So I think maybe the Giants communication team needs to pick up the phone and, you know, start calling, you know, famous housewives of Seattle.
No, we call Jackson State. They seem to have a great PR team on these.
They need to call the 5.
No, I mean they need to call out and talk to the wife. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. No question. Listen.
Say,
if we
hey,
call Sierra,
New York City, baby. You know what that's going to do for your career?
Listen, Sierra, if it's Sierra's decision, it's done.
What makes you think it's not?
Oh, it's gonna be
no mouth, Jesse, to God's ears.
She's gonna be in that decision.
There's only one player that I know of, right? That didn't have to listen to his wife when it came to anything.
Tom Brady?
And even that caught up with him.
Yeah. Right. He wrote that out for 20 years.
He ain't pulling the same weight that Tom Brady's pulling when he walks in a room.
Right.
So,
he wrote that out for 20 years, and then he finally caught up with him.
Tom Brady said he was going to play till 45. She said, nah, no.
I just see Sierra saying like that. 6 years in Seattle, Russell. God,
yeah, she's ready. She's ready to go. Listen, we're ready for you, Sierra.
Yeah. It's like somebody said, here's $1 billion, but you can't leave the state of Rhode Island for the rest of your life.
Right.
Well, what good does that do you?
Right. That's a tough ask. Final question of the night. So we'll stay in the NFL. Kyler Murray, man, why did I say his gent? That's ridiculous. Let's go with his agent. Released a statement saying, hey, we'd love to be here, but we want the Cardinals to do the right thing. Do right by our guy. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't get this whole Arizona thing. I don't get it. And by the way, I didn't put it as breaking news, but it is kind of breaking news. The GM and the head coach tied together till 2027. Both got extensions.
That doesn't look good.
So I don't know what this is supposed to be with Kyler Murray, because wasn't it the coach, the head coach is the only reason I'm taking the job is because I'm gonna get to take Kyler Murray? Wasn't that what he said? Yeah. So I don't get what this is anymore. I don't understand it. So
we've seen this before. We've seen this before. I mean, once you want some more money, you do something to bring some attention to yourself. So it's nothing that we haven't seen out of the ordinary. I mean, he wants a contract extension. He wants more money. So I mean, he's gonna have his agent put out some stuff. He's gonna delete his Twitter and everything. It's just trying to say you're disgruntled, but I mean, it's all in the ploy of I want more money. I want some security.
I think it's deeper than that, because if you're a football fan, advocate, or whatever it is, Kyler's gonna get his money regardless. From Arizona. It's a matter of how much he's gonna get. That's the thing. How they're gonna structure the deal. it's not going to be a Mahomes thing that came and blew up in Kansas City's face, and they've already had to start restructuring his deal. It's just a matter of what makes sense. It's what Dak had to do. It has to make sense, and it's like the guy is so impatient, and I don't know. It's listen. At the end of the day, they own you. They own Kyler Murray because he still got another year under that contract, and then they can turn around and franchise him twice.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want that, so let's.
Well, no, he's got this year. He's got the 5th year they can pick up right now,
Right.
and then they can franchise him. He could have 0 contract security for the next 4 years
Exactly.
if that's what the Cardinals wanted to do.
And I heard somebody earlier today say something that was very interesting.
For somebody that always gets hurt, by the way.
I heard somebody say something today about this, and they was like, the GM needs to stand up and say, "Hey, guy, we're not going to negotiate with you through social media. Like, dude, all this is nonsense. You know what I mean? It's like you need to grow up in this situation. Really, he need to grow up. His agent need to be like a." It's just.
Doesn't the fact that he did that kind of validate what they've been saying about him? Like he's immature.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah. He is one of the most immature stars there is that's out there in the NFL. They should just release him. They do away with him then.
Release him
so that the Oaks can go get him.
Oh man! Cool.
I see what you did there. That was good. Well played, Cam. Well played.
No, he is. Listen, he's a grown man. I'm not saying this grown man is immature, but the acts are. He's acting very immature.
Right.
And his agent is not doing no better. Like, matter of fact, I don't need to say anything. My agent needs to do all this stuff, and he will talk for me. Like, it's just. And the last thing you want to do is be playing under these 1-year deals, because if something crazy happens, you're screwed.
I don't often agree with Dan Orlovsky ever, because I think, quite honestly, while he breaks down X's and O's brilliantly, beyond that, I don't think he knows what the hell he's talking about.
He was right about Stafford.
He got lucky on Stafford this year. That's because it's his boy. He got lucky. You know he got lucky. But I will say he made a point the other day that was pretty amazing. And men lie and women lie, but numbers don't lie. The last 3 years of Kyler Murray's stats have been pretty much identical every year. Like, they have not changed.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at it, it speaks to. Now, you can blame who you want to blame on that. You can say, well, the organization hadn't given him the receivers he's needed. Or you can say the offensive line has been a little bit suspect. You can say that as well. But I'm just saying the numbers have not changed. They've been pretty much the same. So, to me, it's hard to go demand a raise when your productivity doesn't look any different than when it looked when you first arrived.
Yeah, but you read the letter his agent put out there, right? And man, it didn't say anything about Cliff coming on at the same time and what he's done to that organization. Doesn't say anything about J.J. Watt. Doesn't say anything about Larry Fitzgerald. Doesn't say anything about Christian Kirk, right? It's like, look at me. I was a rookie of the year, and I've been a 2-time Pro Bowl. You were a Pro Bowler. You played 14 games, 24 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions.
Right.
Stop.
Right.
Stop. The difference between you being the 3rd quarterback selected to the Pro Bowl in the NFC and the top 2 quarterbacks that got selected is 8 years.
Yeah, it's not apples to apples at all.
No, it's not apples to apples at all. But that comment that statement that he put out, that his agent put out there about him, right? It says he's the second coming of quarterback Christ. Like, and everything that he's trying to do is about, being committed to the team, and this is where he wants to win a Super Bowl. And listen, he acted like a petulant child Sunday of the Pro Bowl. He scrubs his Instagram account. He unfollows the Arizona Cardinals team, right? And now you got all this, smoke around He's always been a bad teammate. He's always about himself. He's always throwing temper tantrums when he doesn't get his way. And like, if you're Cliff Kingsbury, right, and clean, which let me tell you, their GM too. He's been with the organization since '99. He's been the GM since 2013, right? This isn't going to be like a GM versus player, let's see who wins kind of conversation, right? That guy's there. It's the same thing with like Spoelstra in Miami, right?
And by the way, has earned his money.
Has earned it.
Has more than earned his money. Yeah.
Right. He's there and he's got a relationship with Cliff, and they're both extended to 27. That's the Cardinals sending a whole nother message. But when what Murray did and the way that he acted, just even a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. And then to hear all those stories come out, right? And you're hearing them, like you can trace all the way back, right, to high school with him. And it's I don't know. I know they made a massive commitment. Jimmy said it a second ago, right? They spent the number 1 pick on him a year after they spent the number 10 pick on Josh Rosen.
Right.
But he's reacted. He's reacting. That letter is a reaction to the stories that came out about him, right? And I just thought it was self-serving and inappropriate. And there's a million of different ways to do that, especially when that GM has made it known, not just this week, his entire career. He's very Bill Belichick like that. I do not negotiate publicly, and you will not win with me negotiating publicly. And the first thing that Kyler wants to do when he doesn't get his way, right? And people start telling stories about him. Yeah. Is he starts throwing stuff out into the public, and that's the number 1 thing you can't do, which further proves to me he is way too immature to be a successful leader of a ball club, right? He is not going to be, a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers on the path that he's on. Neither with his stats or with his leadership abilities.
I agree. Yeah.
So for me, the most telling thing about, let's just deal with last season. I don't even want to deal with the whole thing. Let's deal with just last season.
Okay.
From the bye week on, the Arizona Cardinals went 2-7. Yeah, something like 4-7, something like that. Yeah, they were terrible. They were absolutely terrible. Right? How do you go demand a raise when you can't win at home?
A couple of those losses was game-ending interceptions, weren't they?
Right. How do you demand a raise when you were the direct result? You were the reason why some of those losses were losses. Now, I'll stall you out, 11-6 to end it all, but man, you did not end the season well at all. And I don't know. I just, to me, this is a bad strategy. This is that new school kind of free agent stuff that I don't love. It works for some, and by the way, I don't think it works in the NFL. It may work in the NBA. You can do this in the NBA. You can't do this in the NFL where there's no player empowerment. Players don't have that kind of leverage in the NFL where you can just out your owner and embarrass them, and the owner will like shook. And by the way, not necessarily breaking news, but revealing news. The rumor is that our guy, LeBron and Rich Paul, the reason why Rich Paul flew out to LA to talk to the management is because Jeannie Buss went to LeBron and said, we're not doing anything else. I've moved heaven and earth for you, sir. Figure it out. So at some point, you can push too far, and the owner will start to push back, even for a superstar talent. I think Kyler Murray is good. I don't think he's irreplaceable. Because right now, in a straight-up trade, can't you name about 4 quarterbacks that you would take? Russell Wilson on Arizona right now.
Yeah, all you got to do is not lose the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so Kyler
should be on the field.
So my pastor Dave Chappelle has a saying: sometimes you just need to shut the up.
True.
And I think
And
this might
listen,
be one of those times.
And he doesn't get an. I've got a whole nother side of, take to this that I want to after I hear what Cam has to say. But
Yeah.
Kyler Murray knows better, right? This is not only a childish reaction to what was happening, to what happened over the last couple of weeks, but he has the same agent as Cliff Kingsbury.
Wow.
Cliff Kingsbury just got a contract extension.
So what? I don't understand this play.
So why does one agent act so completely right? The disparity is in the client, which means this is 100%, Kyler Murray led and forced and fed, right? Because you didn't hear any of this with Cliff on the exact same team, the exact same week, negotiating the exact same contract.
Wow. Cam, bring us home.
I'm ashamed that he was a boomer sooner right now.
Somehow it always gets back to that, doesn't it?
Y'all, it's nothing for me to say. Y'all said it all. Like, y'all, and the bad thing is, dude, you playing on a pretty good team. You need to chill. You really need to chill and look around and see what some of these other star quarterbacks, you want to call them, or whoever, people in your same class, what's happening to them, man. You got a good situation going on, and they have built the entire team. Not only the offense, they built the entire team around you. We need to get. We just need a bend but don't break defense. And we keep calling them off the field and all that. It's dumb. His dad even came out and put some stuff out there that he's been immature. His own dad. So he's like,
wow,
yeah, you doing some crazy stuff.
Wow. Juxtapose that to Jalen Hurts, who the owner, Jeffrey Lurie, just came out and said, there's nothing to discuss anymore.
Or Lamar Jackson. Kyler Murray wants to bring up Josh Allen got it a year early, right? So I've been to, rookie of the year and 2 Pro Bowls and da-da-da-da-da. So, I should get it a year early too, like Josh did, right? And I'll take it easy on the first year so that, we can sign some more players and stuff like that. But, in what world do you think you're a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, no.
And Lamar Jackson's having to, they picked up his 5th, right, off his rookie deal. So, that's what I don't get. I don't know where he thinks he is, right? 1 or 2 players may set a precedent and a ceiling, but that doesn't mean that, everybody rises to that level.
Just entitlement, just blatant entitlement, man.
Yeah, I think the agent, I don't get why he did what he did, but he did it. And so, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But
hold on, Lloyd, real quick on that before we drop the thing, if we have a second.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
You talk about bringing Russell Wilson onto that team. We talked about what good players do versus what great players do.
Yeah.
Right? What if Russell Wilson comes on that team and makes everybody better? And like Cam said it, they're already a really good football team. Mm-hmm. Right? So put a leader in that locker room, right? That has an arm that can compete with Cliff Kingsbury's offense. And what is Arizona next year? Right?
They're a Super Bowl contender.
Right. So
the Rams and everybody's playing for 3rd.
Yeah. The last thing I had on that is when Arizona has to evaluate how valuable Kyler Murray is to that franchise, right? I think it's interesting to see there were some stats that really stuck out last year when you're talking about what Hopkins brings to the team, right? And what they did when Hopkins and Murray were on the field versus when just Murray was on the field. And it was 18 points a game to 30 points a game, right? When Hopkins wasn't on the field. They had a plus 62 yards per game differential when both of them were on the field, minus 26 when Hopkins was off the field. The Murray's completion rate was 71% with Hopkins on the field, 63% without Hopkins on the field. And that's one of the biggest stats you'll throw out with Murray, isn't the 24-10 or the 3,700 yards. You're throwing out the 71% completion rate. You're saying, oh, this guy completes passes better than anybody else in the league, right? Not without Hopkins on the field.
Right.
Um,
Whereas overall completion hovers around 65%. If you average them all up, it's 64 and 19, 67 and 20, 69 and 21. So incremental, you know what I mean? It's not great.
But it's nothing. 63% in the league isn't impressive.
That's not worth
Their
$200
passing
million.
touchdowns. Their passing touchdowns per game went from 2 with Hopkins to 1 without Hopkins. And all I'm saying is, in that scenario, if you have Hopkins back and he's healthy, and you put in Jimmy Garoppolo, can Garoppolo? You know what I'm saying? Like those are the production differences, right? When Hopkins isn't on the field, you say, well, he's going to need a number 1 wide receiver. That's not fair if you don't, give him his stats with that on the field. There are other quarterbacks that can do that when you have a wide receiver like Hopkins, and if he's not on the field, that team falters. Because the defense can just play him differently.
It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. It really is. The combine is going on this week. We'll have way more information for you next week.
Sir,
seeing the numbers.
Breaking news.
Yeah, more breaking news. Okay.
Aaron Rodgers is set to make a move towards the Big Apple.
That's not true. Where'd you get that from? Don't play with my emotions like that.
All right, okay, no, okay, I'll just play.
Don't do that, man. Don't do that. I felt a little bit of peace come out when you did that. I was nervous. When you did that. I was nervous.
My bad, Lord. My bad.
Don't see, man. Y'all go on with the final thoughts, man. Give shout out. That wasn't right, man. That wasn't right.
Man, that was mean. I apologize, man.
It was really mean. It was very mean. All right.
Breaking news.
What we doing with shout outs tonight? Can I get one off the top and then everybody go? Shout out to Mama Major. This is the anniversary, right? If I'm not mistaken, this is the anniversary of the lovely Mama Major who birthed our amazing producer and brother on the 5, Chad Major. One of the common threads that we had, I don't know Jesse's situation, but the other 3 of us all have we are in that Lost Mothers Club, which is the worst club on earth. Let me just tell you, this club sucks. It is a terrible, terrible club. But the good news is you got people that understand you and relate to you when the days come. So, so I just want to give that shout out. I just wanted to get that out before Chad does, because Chad's going to probably shout that out. But I want to get into it.
Appreciate you.
How much we appreciate her, what she did for us here on the 5.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to definitely give my shout out to Mom Dukes. It's been 6 years since she left in body, but it's definitely always here in spirit. So she definitely wanted me to pursue this. So I definitely owe this to her, and as far as talking about this with my brothers, and definitely having something like this come to fruition. So I definitely applaud her for that. And also, I want to salute my brother over here, whose birthday is going to be Saturday. Putting up, and also anniversary Sunday. So he's putting up the pre-hurt Anthony Davis numbers 48.
Right. Me and the missus, man, 48-23. We're putting up real numbers out in these streets.
When Anthony Davis was healthy, he was putting up numbers like that. So
he was not.
So definitely want to salute you on that, man, and salute to the McKinney High School, man. Won the game this weekend. Now they take on North Crowley and Fort Worth. That's definitely gonna be a good game. So salute to them, and everybody's watching, man. We always appreciate y'all. So definitely salute them. Everybody's watching.
Shout out to Christina on them stars, man. We appreciate them stars, man.
Appreciate it.
Cam, Jesse, what y'all doing? Y'all know what this is.
Shout out to nephew. Like I said, he's still working hard, getting ready for that pro day on April 1st.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah, he's doing some good stuff. Let me just say that, and he's working diligently and hard, very hard.
That's the only part of draft I'm looking forward to when we pick him. That's it. Other than that, I don't. It's really nothing else to be excited about.
Let him go to that pro day and run a sub 540, 4.540.
Oh, listen. Amazing what happens. Amazing what happens. What a day makes, right?
Hey, 449, put you on the board. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Would that probably be televised or somewhere you could watch it or closed?
I'll find out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I believe it's going to be in Charlotte. I think my wife told me yesterday that I think it's going to be in Charlotte.
Is that April? Is that the beginning of April?
It's April 1st.
Oh, right at April.
Okay. All right. Hey, Cam and I, we can just fly down there and videotape the whole thing.
There you go. We'll go live. Listen, if y'all go down there, we will go live. I promise you that.
Yeah.
We will show the entire thing on the Noisemaker page, and so that'll be Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Don't threaten us with a good time.
Threatened. Consider yourself threatened.
Yeah. Consider it done. We just need to find out if Charlotte's playing down there that week.
Yeah, I'm down with it. That'll work.
Yeah, no, I need 2 tickets to Charlotte
There you go.
on the 31st.
I love it.
Siri already booked my flight. She heard some shit, and Apple and Google and Facebook got involved.
Hey,
And
don't say that too loud. My wife don't like Siri.
she needs to have Siri book a first class flight for her. It should be super happy.
Listen, we can work this thing out. Me, her, and Siri. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else? You know, shout-outs? I got one last one, but I'll save it for last. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know who my biological mother is. My adoptive mother is still who I consider my mom. She's still alive, but I had 2 women adopt me in my life. Cam knows that. So, Chad, I feel you. Don't feel you, but I feel you. Lulu was every bit of a mother to me. So I get that. So celebrate her, right? Shout out to Ukrainian sports. 3 boxers, right? How they're involved with their country, going back and fighting.
How about that?
Heavyweight champions of the world, right?
Yeah.
And signing up to pick up a gun, and even there was the tournament in Mexico last week where the Ukrainian player played a Russian player, didn't even want to get on the court with her, right? Then went out and won the match, donating all her earnings for the tournament win back to her country to help support. Wow. I mean, that's big from a sports context. That's big.
Oh yeah, huge.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We started innovated, right? We have is LeBron James and Patrick Mahomes, and are they picking up guns and standing on the beach?
No, they'll barely march, but that's a whole nother conversation.
But if LeBron James do decide to pick up a gun, just aim it at your point guard.
Oh man, come on.
Boy, if your point guard was from Russia, that'd be the least of your problems.
The comments just in but not necessarily a reflection. Wow.
Well, man. Okay, before you
went in, bro. You went in.
My fault. Okay.
Blame the J.
I understand the pain. Listen, I understand the pain. Don't think I don't understand the pain. It's frustrating.
Paint gun at a team building.
Right.
At a team building event.
Woo. Well, before you close us out, Lord, I do think Coach K is not finished. I'm just gonna throw that out there to you guys. And I'm gonna tie it together for you. I've already gave you the answer though, but I just know that Barrett and Reddish is over there. I know Zion is trying to get over there, and I'm telling you, there's nothing left. Listen, I don't know if it's in a coaching capacity or GM capacity or whatever Phil Jackson was to the Knicks. I'm telling you, hey, Steph Curry gonna be available too. He's another Coach K guy. I'm just telling you, I don't think he's finished. I think now it's time for the Danny Ainge part of him, the Brad Stevens part of him, because he's not gonna be able to walk away from basketball. Now he can stop coaching, but basketball decisions, he's Jerry West of college basketball.
Yeah, I tell you why.
Pull Pat Riley.
Can I tell you why what you just said has legitimacy, and I sold the 3 for the 3 words. the most notorious words in all of sports, World Wide Wes.
Yeah.
True.
If anybody can pull that off,
Yeah.
it would be him. So I can't argue against that. Cannot argue against that. My shout out is also a promotional for tomorrow's show because our brother Charlie Ward today in the state semifinals of Florida in the 3A came back from 14 down to beat Tampa Catholic in fine fashion, and they will play tomorrow or Friday for the state championship, the first since I think I heard the announcer say 1963.
That's what's
So
up.
shout out to him, and we'll get deeper into that conversation tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central. But I'm excited for him. I literally watched that game, fellas, like I had kids on that team. It was the weirdest thing. I'm shouting at the screen. I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm fussing at the ref. I'm like,
You had money on it.
it felt like I had money on it or
You had
something.
money
Like,
on the over, and they kept fouling.
they did keep fouling, though. That
Yeah,
was
they
weird.
did
It
that
was-
then.
They actually did keep fouling. It was very strange. But it was a great game. It was a great game. And I got to give Charlie credit. He was cool as the other side of the pillow. Did not.
Would you expect him to be anything?
I bet all of Charlie's high school games.
That's just something you do, right? Something you got time to do today. So, yeah, shout out to him, man. That was really exciting to watch.
After he win the state championship, we got to get him on here, man.
On the 5, right.
And
Yeah.
man, you do your part, and I'll do my part, and we're gonna have a little Knicks reunion. How about that?
Say less. Done. But you got to win first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
win
know,
Friday.
we want him on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we root for Charlie. We definitely
We root for Charlie, man.
Definitely.
Shout out to the broski. All right, guys, this was always fun as always. Shout out to Reggie Love. Shout out to Al B. We missed the brothers, but they will be back next week. Until then, man, that is Killer Cam. Go ahead, Jess.
Can I ask you guys to do me a favor over the next week?
Absolutely, sir.
Pay attention to the Boston Celtics.
We-
No,
we'll do
I'm
that.
just saying, I'm not saying anything other than do your own homework. Watch a couple of games.
I have actually.
Okay.
I have actually.
All right. See how that's working. Because I'm not convinced yet. And I'm a fan, and I try not to be a homer on this show, but I'm not convinced yet. Still want to see more. So obviously want to see him in the playoffs, etc. But that head coach, that
Okay, so
organization, that identity, the way they're meshing right now, that defense, right? Robert Williams, like I just watch them so we can have a conversation about basketball that about who's sleeping, right?
So,
What's
full
sleeping might do
disclosure.
something.
Jesse, full disclosure. I'm not saying it just because you just said it now. I want to put their coach into that top 4 of coaches I'm starting to trust because I've never seen it turn around that fast. It went from, God, they can't play together. Why are we still trying? To low-key, they might pull this thing off.
He needed a couple of months to coach them, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like they flipped the switch January 1st, right? This all started back in August, but it's just been building.
It takes time to get the message through sometimes.
Right. And like they're saying stuff like Robert Williams had a pass from the top of the 3-point line the other night to Tatum, who caught it over his defender in the post and alley-ooped it, right? And it's like, he's not supposed to be able to pass like that. And then Scalabrine made a comment on the broadcast that said Udoka's said over and over the last 2 months he didn't realize how good of a passer Robert was. They're just now starting to figure stuff out. That's why I think a lot of credit needs to go to him. A lot of credit needs to go to Brad Stevens, and the way those players have sold out for their identity. I just watch them. As a fan, all I'm saying is just watch them. Come with an opinion, because if there's a sleeper in the league, if it could be Denver if they get Murray and quarterback, but man, there's something dangerous that could.
So are you saying they just all this time they just now figuring it out? What you trying to say?
Yeah, but I
No,
don't
I'm
think
saying
it's as
these
simple as that.
pieces are figuring it out, right? You don't have a Kyrie in there. You don't have a Kemba in there. You don't have a Gordon Hayward in there.
There's nothing mucking up the waters anymore.
No, you changed it all. You've gone.
Yeah.
These are the young guys we're going to run with, right?
you
We
said
get rid of the
you said they're
Schroeder, who's a
figuring it out.
distraction. We get rid of the. We bring in a White who fits the identity and a piece that we need from defense and passing, and he clicks with Jason and Jalen, and they're learning how to work together, right? Shaq said it the other night. We need, every two-player combo in the league has to sit down and have a conversation at some point and say, all right, you're the man. I'm still going to get mine, right? But I totally get it. You're going to run there, right? And he said he had that conversation with Dwayne. Dwayne, you're the man when he got to my,
Right.
Jesse, your volume is muted. Nobody can hear you. I think what you just said was that the Lakers can figure this thing out. That Westbrook can come back and he's going to figure this thing out. And LeBron's going to do good. And we're going to bring in DJ Augustine.
God bless you guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week on the 5. Oh my God, that thing went off the rails.
Will get you 10 when you're plugging in with the there's no mystery. Let's make history with the 5. Oh, the song 2 and 3. Add 1 more plus me into the 5.